Okay, so this week's question is coming from an old university friend of mine, Mary, and she is asking how long does a bottle of wine last once you've opened it. So I think maybe this comes under the category of kind of responsible drinking, I guess. You know, because I think obviously Mary being a responsible teacher of the nation's children, you know, obviously I'd expect nothing less from her. The thing is about this is it kind of runs under government guidelines of how much you should be drinking. Sometimes it is hard actually to count what you use. I mean, it's the best way of doing it, but is it the most practical? I think the practical thing is to work out what you like drinking, in this case wine, and just say, right, no more than half a bottle a night, say 4 or 5 times a week. Always try and have at least 2 or 3 days off any kind of alcohol at all. And even when you do drink, just remember, try and keep it at a sort of steady keel kind of thing. So obviously, if you go down that road, you're kind of left with a bit of a situation. If there's just the one of you drinking wine at that point, you're obviously going to be left with half a bottle of wine knocking around. So yeah, as she says, what to do with that, kind of how long can you leave that for? Well, I think the thing is, the reason wine goes off is that it oxidates, really, or oxidizes. I'm not quite sure what the difference is, but someone can tell me that. So there's 2 ways to do it, really. Is you try and stop oxygen getting to it, or you try and slow down that process, So obviously in terms of stopping oxygen getting there, very simple way. I mean, I've got 3 bottles lined up here, all with different stoppers and things like that. Oh, they all came with different packaging. First one, this one obviously cork. Just stick the cork back in. Pretty easy, just give it a good shove. Make sure you don't throw it away when you're opening it. I've done that a lot of times. Just stick the cork back in, no problem there. Screw cap, even easier. I'm not even going to talk about that one. The only slight issue, I suppose, is when you've got sparkling wine. Because obviously, as soon as you take a cork out of sparkling wine, it mushrooms up, and you don't want to try and get that thing back in. It's not possible. Even if it is possible, it'll just take it forever. So forget all that crap. What you can do, probably one of the best things to do is what they've done here in the pub here, is they've got one of these kind of vacuum seals. These are very, very easy to pick up. They're like 3 or 4 quid, something like that. Or if you're going down to a wine tasting or a winery or something like that, you can, I say usually rob one. Don't ask nicely, but they'll give you one. If you ask very nicely. And look, this thing will last you forever. Until you mess it up when you're washing up. But it's absolutely fine, and it'll basically keep it going for a long time. There's this old wives thing, by the way, of just before I forget, of sticking a teaspoon in it. Research has shown, there has been research done on it, and it's shown it's absolute bollocks. So don't worry about that next time. Get yourself one of these. In terms of slowing it down, stick it in the fridge. Stick them all in the fridge. Obviously the colder temperatures slow down the reaction. Obviously when you're going to be drinking the wines, if you're going to be drinking red, while you're at it in the fridge, just make sure you warm it up against room temperature. Just leave it out before you drink it again. But no, that's kind of about it. If you do all this kind of stuff, then you should be able to last for 2 or 3 days. And obviously within 2 or 3 days you've got plenty of time to finish it off or whatever you want to do with it. I suppose one last thing I guess we could talk about is what to do with wine as it's going off or just before it turns. Obviously the reds and whites, they're great for cooking. And I've always told there's this idea of cooking wine and drinking wine. Well, you cook with the stuff you drink. I mean, what's the point of buying crap and cooking with it? You're still gonna eat this stuff. You know what I mean? So, what you could do, one of the tricks that I was always taught was get yourself an ice cube tray and pour the rest of the wine into the ice cube trays. Stick it in the fridge, freezer even, and you've got perfect kind of things ready to make your stocks and soups and sauces and stuff in the future. With white wine for your risottos, your casseroles, things like that. It's just ready there waiting for you. But sparkling wine maybe a little bit different, but they honestly make really good cocktails if you start mixing it with things. You know, that can, I mean, the bubbles are still there, and it can add the acidity to a cocktail, which is great. One of the things I like, especially with cava, which is great. I was in Barcelona recently, and you know, one of the waiters there taught us how to make cheeky sangria, and effectively all it is cava and Fanta lemon. That's it, and then just a few ice cubes and you're done. So that's kind of about it, really. As I said, 2 to 3 days. But there's lots and lots of things you can do to use that wine over those 2 or 3 days. So I hope that answers your question, Mary. Yappy da, and till next week, guys.